Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sex, Drugs, and Soul. We're recording on a soulful Sunday. I have
Oh.
Anthony here. So pumped.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. How appropriate that we're recording on a Sunday.
I know. I was thinking that on the drive over
So
here. We've got some things in store for you guys.
Buckle up.
Yeah, I want to open up with first off, I have my questions over here just in case I
Love
need
it.
them. So, and I'm not, yeah.
Ask
And
away.
but I wanted to ask you what what's turning you on right now,
Right.
or like making you feel the most alive in
Great
this
question.
moment.
I love that. So the first thing that comes to mind is I've been diving into this world of Tantra for a while now, and how fascinating that is, because beforehand my life was entirely in ministry. I was a pastor for like 17 years. I still technically am. It's funny. The way that ordination works is fascinating to me, but there's a group of people that basically said like, yeah, you're good. You can go do ministry wherever it is that you are. And I'm like, hot. So so kind of that really is what's alive for me, is what does it look like to be doing this ministerial, this service, this work in the world that I'm in now, which is really fascinating. So the way that that looks, at least, and the way that it's being a really big turn on, is that I've had so many people approach me with this word that I'm the safe masculine presence to be around. And that has led to a desire for more like sensual and sexual experiences. And that's wild for me. It's like, oh, wow, I really appreciate your like calm and your resonance. And like usually in the church world, it'd be like, oh, like I can learn from you. And like I want to hear you, preach your sermons and things like that. And like people still do want to learn from me for sure. But they're also like, you want to go? And I'm like, whoa, like I had no idea that was a prerequisite. Like if all this time I would have known, I'm like, why did nobody tell me? So I feel like that's bizarre. Like for me, I love to know that like it's the energy that's present that really makes it, like my energy is so like such a turn on. I'm like, oh yes, that's what I've been hoping for. And it probably has been this whole time, but I'm just now like realizing and recognizing that. So that's super hot right now.
Cool. I'll take that.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I feel like whenever I feel that masculine presence, that I feel safe, I can completely unravel and be in my feminine energy. And so that's definitely something that I don't think is that common that I've experienced. I can think maybe on like one hand, like, okay, masculine presence, other than like my dad, like who did I feel safe around to like really let go?
And that's so accurate, because like I feel that too. It's like I'm looking for that, right? Like I know I can provide that for myself, but there's been so many conversations I've had, especially with women who are like, I can't find that. And as I've had the one other person that comes to mind for me also has a communication around that sense of like, they feel like a father figure because they can offer that safe presence. And so it doesn't always result in the same thing that it's been resulting in for me lately, which is like, I feel safe to be sexual around you. I'm like, cool, great, go for it. But I also have this grounded energy that's like, I don't need that. Like, I'm really grateful that you're telling me this. Like, there's been so many priestesses lately that have said that exact thing of like I would like to be physical with you. And I'm like, cool. Like, thanks for letting me know. Like, and that's the thing, is most guys would be like right now, like, you want to go in the garage? Like, let's just hop over there and take care of that.
I feel like you can sense too if it's like that maybe needy or
Sure.
clingy energy, or wanting it, or and so maybe it's a more of a turn on that you're not leading with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's absolutely fair. Because right, how many men are out there that are just like, oh, I just can't wait for the next one. Yeah. Like a little chipmunk. Like, I'm gonna stuff as much as I can in my mouth. Like, here we go. But yeah, that's not the way I enjoy that, right? It's like there's no attachment there. It's like, okay, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But like, I'm not trying to rush it. I'm not trying to push it. I'm not trying to force it. It's just like there's no scarcity there. And I think that's part of it. It is really scarce. And a lot of men are in that mindset, especially as the feminine has evolved so much over the past several years. Like there's there's been a discussion about the way the planets are. And I like those discussions because whatever it is that the planets are made up of, we're also made up of.
I
So
just
like,
saw a video on
did
that.
you
Like,
really?
yeah, I
That's
was
funny.
watching Diary of a CEO with
Nice.
Neil Tyson
Neil
on it,
deGrasse
and
Tyson.
he said, yeah, carbon or like hydrogen, oxygen,
Carbon.
carbon, like something else. And so I was like, oh, I just love that little breakdown and like love that we're part of the universe,
Yes,
you know?
literally. Whatever
Yeah,
the universe is
the
made
same
up of,
makeup.
so are we. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a going back to my pastoral days, there's a
Oh
Greek
yeah, I
term
want to
for
go there.
that. There's a Greek term for it being made up of. It's called homoousios, which is a Greek term that just means whatever it is that God is made up of, we're made up of.
Oh, I love
And it's
that.
like same stuff is really what that like word breaks down to. And it is fascinating. So yeah, that was a trip. The
Yeah. Okay.
pastoral
Okay.
world.
So I do want to rewind. Yeah. I
Okay,
love
cool.
where you're
We
at
can go
now, like
back.
minister of pleasure. Yeah. I
Yes.
know. I'm like, you gave away my little teaser. Because I was going to say, like, I know now, like, you're a community builder in Houston, like
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
tantric space, and you've been here for a minute.
Hmm.
But I want to rewind,
Yeah.
like, to get back to like those minister days.
Hmm.
And then like kind of what spurred the journey there.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious also about the moment or the catalyst to deviate and go a different path or journey.
Sure.
I'm sure, I mean, to me, there's like a pivotal probably
Of course,
point.
there's processes and there's moments, right?
Okay,
No matter
yeah.
anybody who changes at all
Yeah.
knows that like it doesn't all happen at once.
No, no,
But and
no. But
also,
sometimes there's like a
yep,
catalyst though.
and also it's
Yeah.
like the click, and you're like, oh my gosh, because
Like,
I had that when I mean I know you've had plenty of your own catalysts, and my catalyst for ministry was really
Mhm.
fascinating
I'd love to hear.
because I was 16. So
Okay.
I was but a child, a babe, a wee babe.
Virgin?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For
I
a
mean, just to
while still
clarify.
after that, yeah. I was a goody two shoes Christian boy growing up. Like at the time that I got my call to ministry, I could count on my fingers and toes the amount of times I had missed church.
Wow.
I was there all the time.
Like
I was
Wednesdays
baptized.
too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like I
Okay.
was baptized as an infant in the Catholic Church
Yeah.
and then grew up Protestant, and we went every Sunday. Of course we went every Sunday. I helped lead Sunday school classes as like
Wow.
a 9-year-old. I was in a Christian school. I was diving into the Bible vigorously, memorizing portions of it that I still have. Like I can remember, I have whole chapters where I could just start saying it.
Wow.
Because it's been ingrained into me, right? And I really value that. And especially as a 16-year-old, I was very grateful because I would go to youth group, I would go to church, and people would almost respect my opinion. Like, hey, you have a lot of knowledge in this area. And so, and the whole Jesus thing really stuck, right? Like
Like the teachings or who he was, or like what piece of Jesus? Yeah, I'm curious.
The big thing that stuck is like the very, very basics. When Jesus talks, he talks about a couple of different things. He talks about love, and he talks about feeding and taking care of those who don't have. Right. So those were the two big things that really stood out to me. Like love your neighbors yourself and love God. Right. Okay, cool. I can stick with that. And then the other thing is take care of the people around you. Like that's the whole gospel, right? Gospel is this Greek word, means good news. It was what they used to do.
That. Cool.
Yeah. It was this, they used to do this in Rome. And so this is where like the Christian culture took place in Rome. And outside of like the Roman world, right? So in Rome, whenever the Caesar, the ruler, would have something to say, there would literally be heralds, these people who went out on the street and screamed, good news, it's Caesar's birthday, right? Or good news, we took over another portion of the world, right? That was what they did.
Yeah. Cool.
And so this usage of this word gospel became this like political statement where they're like, the good news isn't that it's just happening in Rome, this is happening for the world. And I was like, ooh, I like this. That was enjoyable stuff for me. But there was also all the shame, all the guilt, all the sexual like repression, all of the like fear and anger and all of the stuff that went along with it. So it was like, I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I really don't. And so I was 16 years old. I'm sitting there at my computer on AOL Messenger, which that'll date me. Right? Killing Spike 68. That was my screen name. And I'm sitting there talking to this Mormon girl about Jesus. Like, why is Jesus important to me? It's like we just had the conversation. And
I was having
like,
very different AIM conversations.
tell me, ASL, is that what we were doing?
Cyber sex.
I don't even know what that was at that point. Oh my God. Hey, please tell me more. I've done a chat like that every now and then. So we're talking about that. Yeah, it's just like, that's what was alive for me at the time. Communicating about what was valuable to me was really important. And so here I am speaking about this, like this made a difference in my life, right? Like it created me into the person that I am, and it helped me like work through some of the like shit that was going on at home. Like there was some not great stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I had this like ever-present love that I could connect to that
Mm.
was beyond me and within me at the same time.
I mean, what's not to love about that?
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
It's just also
Yeah.
coupled with all the shit. But
Yeah. I'm like,
but
I'll keep that
yeah, it's like
piece.
the love as long as you're in line. Okay. But then I'm having this conversation, and out of nowhere, I hear this voice that says, "You're going to be a pastor." And I was like, "What? Who?" And then there was like this wash of peace that
Mm.
came over me. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I remember going out and telling my mom, like, hey, mom, I'm going to be a pastor. And she's like, oh, yeah, cool. That makes sense.
Cool.
That tracks for you.
Now, real quick, I'm
Yeah.
curious, like before that moment, did you have any aspirations to do something else? Like,
Yeah, I
as a
wanted
kid,
to
I'm
be an
curious, like,
electrical engineer,
okay.
which was
Yeah.
weird because I hated science and I hated
Yeah.
math.
Oh,
So I was like, okay, I don't
yeah.
know why, but that's what came up with.
Yeah, I was curious.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you had that moment, and then you go
Mhm.
on the journey. What
Yeah,
did that look
the
like?
whole oh my gosh. So from 16 to about 31. So
Wow.
15 years of just like ministerial training. So went to an
Wow.
undergraduate school where I was doing religion and philosophy and Christian ministry. And that was my whole thing. And I was like doing youth ministry, working with teenagers throughout that whole time. Had really incredible learnings from a couple mentors of mine. One guy, his name is Josh. We're still friends today. We play
Awesome.
D&D every Monday night online. It's great. Pastors who play D&D
Yeah.
and talk about sex. It's great. But so we did that, and he was really instrumental in kind of changing my mindset from this, it has to be this way,
Mm.
to maybe there's actually a lot wider of a scope that we can look at.
Mm.
And that was a really fascinating shift, because then I was like, okay, if there's not just this one stringent way of following all these rules, like what's in the bounds? Like he said, we moved from a basketball court, which is like pretty small, and like there's
Mm-hmm.
two hoops and you have one goal, get the ball in the hoop, right?
Mm-hmm.
To a soccer field. And a soccer field's much bigger. It's much wider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's two goals, but the way that you can get it there is a whole lot different. And so it just widened and broadened the field for me. So I was very grateful for that, and then lived my life. I got married. I was in a pastorate for a while, just being a youth pastor, learning new things. And then I went to seminary. So my graduate school, and that was in Chicago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that seminary I was the minority as a straight white man. The most people there were theologians of color and queer theologians.
Oh, wow.
So like I learned from like BIPOC and all kinds of like different perspectives. And when I say different perspective, it's like actually it wasn't really that different. It was just different from what I had been holding.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working at a reconciling church. It was a church where we hired queer people on staff, which was a totally different
wow,
world
yeah.
then. So it was a whole lot more inclusive and understanding. And it wasn't just this narrow little thing. It was like really, it was a huge broadening of all of my perspectives. But I still hold on and held on to the like Jesus narrative, because it really holds a lot of value for me, right? Like the way that we treat others is really important. And Jesus goes on and on about that, and about our inner world too. So I'm like incorporating and getting all these things, and I'm teaching and doing all this different work and having kids. And I'm like, okay, this is good. Like life's okay. And then my marriage fell apart.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was just like,
now, did it
ooh.
fall apart before the discovery of Tantra, or
Yeah, before.
Okay.
I was, that was,
Because I didn't know if that was kind of like the catalyst of its demise.
You know what? It was.
Okay.
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
My divorce was kind of the catalyst for all this.
Oh, okay.
Because I had never slept with anyone other than my wife
Wow.
at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all I knew was having sex with her. And like, there was one way you did it and it was fine. And the way that her and my relationship ended up was, it was not great. I had a lot of codependent patterns, a lot. Because I was trying to recreate stuff with my own father, et cetera.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? We can go on about that, but that's a different podcast.
Yeah.
So I got divorced, and I'm still pastoring, right? And what I did is I lost a ton of weight. I was like 190 pounds, and I'm 33, and I'm fit, and I'm like, oh, suddenly people are treating me differently because I look differently. And I started streaming on Twitch. I don't know if you know Twitch is a platform. but I'm playing video games, and then like there were women who would show up and just be like, "I just want you to stretch." What are you
Oh.
talking about? And I go like this, and they're like, like my arms would like flex, and they're like, "Oh," and I was like, "This is fun. I enjoy this." It's not. It's kind of objectification, but it's not really. It's also just like appreciation.
Mm,
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, being appreciated by the feminine
mm,
fucking rules. I
mm.
want more of that in my life." And so one summer, there was just like I had dated a couple people after my marriage fell apart, and they were all long-term relationships, like 9 months, 6 months, whatever. And I was like, I've never had a relationship that's been like so it had to be expansive and long. It couldn't just be like, oh, we have a fling and then it's over, right? Because I had this like thing in my mind where like there was no sex, there was no connection, intimacy without that level of committed relationship.
Mhm.
And so that was like ingrained and stuck in me. And I remember one summer just being like, what if I just don't take it so seriously?
Mm.
What if I stop thinking about sex as this mandatory, you have to be bonded to this person forever? Because that's what had been ingrained in my head as a kid, right? They told me, like, when you have sex, that energy sticks with you forever. And it's like, there are pieces of that that are true. It's like, but they would tell me, whenever you do, all the other people you've had sex with are in the room with you. And so I'm like, God, that's fucking creepy. That's awful. And also the way they described it was like God was some sort of like watcher, like, you're not doing that what you're supposed to be doing. I'm like, good God. So I'm like, okay.
Who knew God was a voyeur?
I know,
No,
right?
yeah.
It's like God loves to watch. Oh, yes. But so this I'm in my home state and just visiting family, and I have to go back early because it's like the first part of my teacher training. So actually, I have to say, my exit from pastoralship, working at a church, I was streaming on Twitch and like getting all this attention, and I started to just like become a little bit more intertwined with that. Started doing ministry, and that was height of COVID time. So doing
Mm.
ministry online and like
Oh.
bringing people into the church through like Discord, which is like an online platform, and
Yeah.
other services, and like getting like 50 to 70 people to watch our online services
Mm.
from all over because and it's like, this is really cool. And I had one pastoral friend of mine who was like, this is amazing. And then I had another one who just didn't find it as compelling. And then I called someone a horsecock on Twitch, and I ended up getting fired. It was the whole thing. It was like someone
Here.
clipped it. Let's clip that. And then one of my students found it, showed it to one of their
Oh,
people
wow.
who was
Okay.
on like the hiring and firing committee, and was like already pretty upset with like just my general being, my
I mean, is
liberalness.
horsecock necessarily a bad
I
thing?
mean, they were being one.
Yeah,
It was pretty awful the way that they were
yeah.
griefing in this game.
Yeah.
Anyway, needless to say, it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a teacher. So I was a teacher for 2 years, and I was going back for teacher training. So
Wait, like yoga teacher?
so
Oh,
like
okay.
high school. I was
High
teaching
school
high
teacher.
school
Oh,
for
cool.
high school
Okay.
English.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And so I'm
I was
going
like,
back
teacher
for teacher
training.
training.
I think of teacher training. I think of yoga
Exactly.
for some reason. Okay. High school teacher training. Okay.
I get that. That makes a lot of sense. It's like, I have to
Yeah.
remember the world that I'm in, that like teacher can mean a
Yeah. I'm like,
multitude of things.
yeah.
That's right. So I'm heading to go back, and I'm like, have a few hours before the airplane's going to fly out. And I just told my mom, like, hey, I'm going to go and like see an old friend of mine. Truth is, I had gotten on Tinder while I was in
Oh.
Wisconsin and accidentally matched with someone who was like, they were into casual connection.
Mm.
So like they didn't have time. They had a busy life. They had all these things going on. They had kids, but they still wanted to be able to connect. And so we both were like, well, I've got a few hours before the airport. And she's like, well, I've got a few hours off of work. And so I was like, all right. So just got an Airbnb, and then we fucked. And it was like, I was like, it was a fun connection. We were flirting a few like days beforehand and all that stuff like that. And it was like, wow, that was so crazy that just happened. Like, and she was like, you don't have to like follow up with me. Like,
Oh,
you don't have to
wow.
have any conversations
I don't have to
afterwards. Like, I'm
care.
okay with,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I might text you if that's okay. And she's like, yeah, you can. But I never heard from her again. And
Wow.
so it was just like, it was a blast. it was so much fun, and it was pleasant and enjoyable and pleasurable, and it felt good, and she was enjoying herself. I told her I was a pastor, and she was like, no fucking way. And she's from like home state, so she's got the accent. So it was funny. We were in the middle of it, and she goes, oh my God, you're so hot. And I was like, you sound like my aunt. And this is like, oh, I was like, it's okay. Just get over it. It's fine. You're not.
Oh, so I'm curious.
Anyway,
Okay. So you didn't have any like feelings of remorse or guilt or
not a
shame?
one.
Okay. Okay. I was curious because if you looked at, the world through one window for so
Hmm.
long,
Hmm.
would it have, would you catch your shirt on it, climb into another window?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the first
Yeah.
time I had sex, I cried because I was like, I'm going to hell. Oh no. But that was a long time ago. Before
Yeah.
that, I had like been really working on redoing my sexual ethic,
Mm,
like what I felt was actually good for me and for what I needed to have. And so I had worked on it to the point where I was like, I'm willing to explore what this looks like and feels like. And as I did the exploring, I was like, this is incredible. So
mm,
then I started just talking to people about like, yeah, I'm okay with like casual connection. Like I'm not looking for something serious. I'm just going to enjoy the experience of being alive. And
mm-hmm,
there were women who were like, I don't want that. And I remember being like, that's okay.
yeah.
Like you don't have to, like, just because you find me attractive and I find you attractive doesn't mean that if we match up, we have to make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember like starting on that path because I was reading like a lot of books about boundaries, like on codependency and how to like break that pattern. And so I was like, yeah, it's okay. Like you don't have to want that. But I would meet women who were like, yeah, I do want that. And so I kind of had, these flings throughout this whole summer where there were these women who were just like, yeah, I'll hook up with you. And I was like, great, sounds fun. And it was great. And we would hook up like 3 or 4 times and then maybe it would drop off, or once or twice, or maybe it would drop off. Or I had one person that for a couple months, they just wanted to come over every Wednesday. Jokingly, I called her
Hump
Wednesday.
day.
I was like,
Hold on,
"Today was
what?
something." Oh, I called her Wednesday because she just came over on Wednesdays and that's what we did.
I actually have a funny story about that. I was
Please
talking to
tell
this
me.
guy, and he was saying like it was his first foray into like sugaring or
Yeah.
something and being a sugar daddy. And he was so new and he was fresh off of a divorce.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I met this chick. She's like, you can be Tuesday because she had a Monday, a Wednesday,
Uh,
a Thursday, a Friday, and then I think
Ow.
she took the weekends off or something.
Yeah, fair.
Or
That's a
maybe
lot.
maybe there's a day off or. She was like, so
Sounds
my
like the
Tuesday
dream.
is open. I was like, go girl, that's hilarious.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah, that sounds like my dream.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Okay. Okay. So you're reading all these books on
Right.
codependency,
Mhm.
healing all that,
Mhm.
like taking care of your stuff, your
Mhm.
inner work.
Yeah.
When did Tantra come into the picture?
So that was when Samantha came into the picture.
Okay,
So
cool. I don't even know if I know the full story on that.
I'll tell
Okay,
you,
cool.
it's a
Yeah.
fun one. So that's where this came from actually, is Samantha and I found each other on Tinder.
Oh wow,
I
I
know, it
didn't
was so
realize
funny.
that.
And we have this on our podcast too, but we were going through this like phase of like trying to meet new people. She
Mm,
was married at the time and in an open relationship. So I knew that. It said it
yeah.
on her profile. And I was kind of like, I've never ever experienced this before. I don't know what that's like. But I'm open to it, right? So like just that openness and like what's expansive and liberating, right? Like it kind of came in beforehand, but I didn't know it was Tantra
Mm,
then.
mm-hmm.
But as we evolved, it was like, oh, okay. So matched with her on Tinder, started talking. We're like, oh yeah, we're really into this. Like this is fun. We met and had dinner and we hooked up, and it was fun. She was great, like just beautiful, intelligent, loved to
Mm-hmm.
talk about self-growth and development as we both did, and also loved kink and all the things that we were into together. So, and she got up she got up to go take a shower after we were done, and my jaw hit the floor when she was walking away because
Oh,
her ass is incredible. I was like, there's no way that's
she
real.
does have a
Yeah,
good
she does.
Sammy
Um,
got a great ass.
that's right, she does. Check out her Instagram. It's all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
So we met there and then started, she was doing an emotional intelligence training program. She had been doing Joe Dispenza and meditations, and she was just realizing like the marriage she was in just wasn't working for her.
Mm.
And it was really interesting timing because I had also come into the picture. And so it kind of looked like she was like leaving for and chasing another man. But she told me at one point, she's like, I don't know if I'm going to see anybody. I might be single. And I was like, okay, like that's
Oh.
fine. I'm totally not in love with you or anything. Like, but I did. I fell hard for her. We
Oh.
were playing guitar. I was playing guitar for her on the beach, And I looked in her eyes and she was crying from a song that I was playing. And I was like, well, I love this woman. Great. I don't know what to do about this because
So
she's
much for that
married.
casual connection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I was like kind of seeing each other at the same time and they all just started to fade away because I was like, I don't really want anyone else but you.
Yeah.
Like you're it. And she just had this gravitas. She had this power, this strength, and this courage, and also this vulnerability. And that was, she had started to do a lot of Tantra stuff herself around that time, especially being in like the open community and E&M and stuff like that. She really dove in full hog, and everything that she dove into, she just told me about. And as she started telling me about these different tantric elements, and she went and did some of Leola's classes, and I was like, I would love to find out more about this. So we ended up going to like some of the play parties that Leola hosted. And from there, literally on the drive back from the first one, Samantha's like, we need to do this in Houston. And I was like, we can do that. And all of my pastoral stuff came back. And I was like, I know how to build community.
Nice.
I've been doing it for years, actually. Like that is part of my training in seminary, is to do the leadership process of what it means to build and maintain and transform community. So it just came really naturally. And we've been working at it for the past almost a year. We started in December of last year. And we've got over 100 people in the community already.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too.
It's super admirable.
But it's her. Like,
Yeah.
we're in tandem. We definitely work together. But she's so passionate and she's so vision driven that she knows exactly what she wants moving forward and how to create she makes what she wants into a very tangible picture so that it can become reality through, I do a lot of the back end stuff. Like I help with all of the like email templates, getting everything out and like setting up the CRM so that people actually know how to get into the community and things. But because of our like shared dynamic and the relationship that we've built over the past 3 years now, it's like the community has been so explosive. And it's all based around pleasure. Right. So, and because like, Leola's foundation.
Is there, I'm curious, like, what would you whisper? What would you whisper to like, 16, would you whisper anything to 16-year-old you or to
Probably
25? All those skills to like, implement it in today's space. And like you had to go on that ride. And I think I've told you this before. It's like you have so many points of reference or connection because you've experienced that as a worldview and that as like a practice. And that was your world for a long time, right?
Truly. I would not change a thing about the way that I got here because I wouldn't have the tools today without that. Even though some of it was really fucking hard. It was intense for moments, from stuff with dad abuse, from stuff with spouse drama, from stuff with my own falling apart at the seams because of relationships that I had that I let define me. But after the transformation and seeing all of that leading up to what we got to make now, I wouldn't change a thing.
I think you said something powerful right there, like letting other people define you versus like you defining you. That's a pretty big shift.
Does that stick with you too?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Or like the people pleasing or becoming who other people wanted me to be. And maybe the seeking of love, acceptance, validation, all that stuff outside of myself. That part of it resonates for sure.
Yeah, that was what codependency was for me.
Yeah.
And like the great book by Melody Beattie called Codependence No More. And then there's another one called The New Codependency.
Oh, cool.
Both of them, but the New Codependency in particular, they talk about how all of that is actually just based around control. That codependency is all about control. Yes. It's like, and it has 26 ways that you try and maintain control. And then it talks about every single one of them. And 25 out of the 26, because I didn't have, it also talks about alcoholism and like alcoholic parents and alcoholic spouses. I didn't have that. So that's the one that I was like, I don't really get that, because it's called a double winner when you are both codependent, like, and an alcoholic yourself, and you have an alcoholic narcissistic partner. It's like, you got the whole package.
You signed up for the whole kit and caboodle.
Exactly. You went hard mode times two. Yeah. So other than that one, I had every single one of them. And then I journaled for years. 3 years I have journals of, where I just went through each and every single one of those and kept finding
Wow.
where I was still trying to hold on to control.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give this book a little go because I remember when the first time my mom was actually, I think, the person that said something about like mind control issues, and I was like,
Ooh.
"What?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and then, but I felt them, at the play party,
Uh-huh.
however many weeks ago
Yeah.
at Naked Soul Society.
Yeah.
I had my first shibari experience.
Ooh.
And feeling that rope or like that confinement, I immediately felt them kick in, like wanting to control it or like get out or some way. It made me
Oh, wow.
emotional.
Yeah, the triggers, right?
Yeah. And there were some other things that transpired that maybe I'll get into later at a different time on a different
Okay.
podcast. But
Hell
yeah, I
yeah.
was like, wow. Yeah, I definitely want to do another shibari session because it was
They
just
are
so,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, Rena's
And I
awesome
definitely
too.
want to, I want to do one with Rena,
Mhm.
and keep it in the, not like maybe just less erotic, more
Sure.
healing or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Not
Yeah,
that the
change the energy of it.
not that there's not healing in the erotic,
Right.
but just like a different tone or intention behind it.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're kind of looking at seeing where your parts will come up around that.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know
I could
parts
feel
work?
it in um yes, with my therapist, but not
Sure.
as much as y'all have, I don't think.
Sure, yeah, we
Yeah.
talk a lot
And
about
I
parts work in
say
the
it. I mean,
community. Sure.
I speak into like, okay, there's a part of me that,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
or there's a part of me, that has a fear about this or a
Yep.
desire or wants to do this. So I lean into it, but I don't know all of the
Right,
framework.
and that's
Yeah.
okay. I don't think it
Yeah.
has to be, but there's definitely those pieces of us that we Samantha recently did a huge journey where she found that the part of her was actually the controller that was really her whole being.
Mm,
That was kind of like overshadowing all of it. And that's been huge for us in the discussion of as we build. It's like, look, the controller is actually really good at what they do. Really good at like keeping us in line, keeping us moving in the direction that we want to, at the detriment of like taking all those other pieces and putting them to the side or like tampering them down, which is so similar to my own story in religion. Like my controller wasn't an internal one, it was an external one.
mm.
And so she has an internal one and mine was outside. And since I've looked at the outside and been like, yeah, that doesn't really control me anymore, I don't have an inner controller like that. It's
Interesting.
very fascinating.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, I wanted to touch on this too.
Like,
Your relationship with Jesus. Has
yes.
it shifted? How has it evolved?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
evolved. It has over time.
Yeah.
The relationship that when I was 3 years old, my mother told me that I was walking around saying, "Jesus is my savior. Jesus is my savior."
Yeah.
It's just what it was. That's what I knew, right? And I evolved. The biggest evolution in my relationship with Jesus is that Jesus as the Christ had meant for me that I needed to be saved by an external force. And it has moved into now that whatever it is that Jesus is exists within me. And so my savior does not exist outside of myself.
Mm,
And it used to be, I have to look to that cross for me to figure out what it is that I'm okay as a human being. And now it's like, no, that resides. That is residence in me. And that's a huge shift because that was again like buried into us
mhm.
from the time we were young.
I love looking at that through
Yeah.
that lens because for me, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, I see it as like love and Christ consciousness and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay, what would love do? And I
Right.
think there's
Hmm.
nothing that, I mean, I love like the pieces of the teachings of love, the treating your neighbor,
Yeah.
um, all that stuff. I even like, there was something I saw a Jelly Roll post about, he's like, feed the less fortunate or the one, even he said something about the ones in prison. And
Yeah.
I
For I was
thought about,
hungry and you gave me something to drink. I was thirsty and or I
yeah,
ate something to eat, something to drink. I was in prison
yeah,
and you came and visited me. Matthew
yeah.
25:40. I still know it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I sent a letter to my friend that's in prison and I was like, hey,
Hmm.
I'm going to tithe to you this week. I'll put some money on your books.
That's
He called
awesome. I
me.
love
Yeah.
that.
I'm
And
like,
yeah,
I'm looking out for the less fortunate.
that's right. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge part, and that stuff still sticks with,
Yeah.
right? So like the relationship, it's more like internal to external is
Hmm.
the relationship, but the values are still there. Like
Yeah.
I joke about this. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck you like Jesus would fuck you. Like,
God, people okay, so I posted this not too long ago and nobody really caught it. Maybe one person from back home caught it because I said something about having a self-pleasure session with Jesus, and I've done
Yes.
it. I was like,
Oh,
"Okay, how would Jesus touch me?"
uh-huh.
And, all this stuff, and I was like, it was so fabulous. And but
Yes.
one of my friends from, like, junior high messaged me, he's like, "Kristen, insert middle name, Birdwell. Jesus would not be in your self-pleasure session." I'm like,
Wrong.
"He
Absolutely. Yeah. I was what were we were talking about that at the play party that we were at last. It was like, Jesus would fuck. He would totally fuck. Like, and he'd be good at it because he cares. It's so compassionate. Exactly. And it's like, wow, and that's really so this is funny too, that the level of devotion that is
Mm,
available from Christ consciousness is really powerful. Well, and I joke about this where I'm like, I literally have a master's degree in devotion. Like, I
mm,
know how to devote myself to this presence and this experience. Like, I've been giving and doing some like giving and receiving tantric massages
mhm.
lately. And my goal in that is to show up in that pure devotional state. And I don't really have to work very hard to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a real gift that I got from Christianity. It was like, the opportunity for me to be so deeply entwined with your divinity is, I don't know how many people are capable of that. I'm sure, and I know that it's capable for everyone, but I find myself really blessed to have those combination of gifts to be
Mhm.
able to do that. And that's the energy that comes across, right? That's why people are saying like, "Hey, I would love this with you," because it is so easy for me to just drop into that
Mhm.
space. And my hope is that people can feel that level of devotion within themselves. Because I think there's no way I would have been able to do that if I hadn't devoted myself to the divine, which I at once saw outside myself and now see inside myself.
Mm.
So I have that devotion to my own spirit and my own being.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. I love that distinction too. I remember this was like maybe 2019 or 2020. I
Hmm.
was like out for a walk and I'd asked God for a sign, God, universe, spirit, source.
Hmm.
I just called him Gus for a while to
Yes.
shift the relationship because it used to incite such judgment when I heard
Sure.
that word
Yeah.
or that name. And so I was like, okay, how do I write this? But I
Hmm.
had asked for a sign of a feather in some way. And I was like walking out somewhere and I was listening to a podcast and they talk about this woman that didn't want to put a feather in her hat or something or
Huh.
rebelled against it. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I just had this like realization. I was like, wait a second. What if it's not outside of me? What if like
Mm.
actually I'm God, you're God, God's everywhere? Like, it was just this very pivotal, like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moment. Yeah. It's like what I've been searching for my entire life has actually been with me the whole time.
Ye Exactly, and, like, the funny thing is that Christianity teaches that. They teach
Yeah.
that the divine and the image of the divine is present with us from every moment that we exist,
Yeah.
and
How
then
does
so
it
it's
get so skewed then to like
I mean, religion is about
other?
control,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So organized religion is about I
Thank
want really should, it's one of my favorites, actually. It's like that yeah, that's you guys didn't do the book report, clearly,
Yeah.
but you said something about, like, Jesus being present in your, like, self-pleasure practices and things like
Mhm.
that too, and I'm just curious about that, like, the concept of being, like, fucked to divinity,
Mm.
right? Like, that is so I don't know if it's rare or not. It's not rare in my life now, but, like, I want people to experience that so badly.
Like touching God during sex or
Yeah,
like or
like,
feeling
finding
that
God in
kind of
it. Like, it really there's a great book by Rob Bell called Sex God,
oh,
where
okay.
it's Rob Bell was an author or is an author and speaker, but he was really prominent when I was going to college in 2006, 2007. Um, and he wrote a book called Sex God that talked about how like basically like sex and God are indivisible, like they're intertwined with each other, and it's a really
Mm.
brilliant book.
Ooh.
But it comes from a guy who is a pastor and was like wrote from the Christian perspective, and so people were like, "You can't read that book," but not in the college I went to. Fortunately, people
Yeah.
were really open. But like when people back home would be like, "That's not okay," and I'm like, "What if? What if?"
Yeah. What if, and like, because then it shifts to that devotional energy, or like, what if you're bringing it, your level of being and presence, to even your casual encounters. Like
Yeah,
if you're looking for that or treating them as such a divine being,
yeah.
and like, how would things shift
Yeah, it truly would be
dramatically? I
different.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because like it'd be so much easier to have those conversations of like, how do I treat you? like have the conversation beforehand before it gets like out of control and this like, and we love out of control. We love wild and passionate. I'll take it. It's great. But I do want to have that conversation first. And there's so many people who just make these assumptions going into it and like, that they just go with what sex has always been for them instead of recognizing this is the moment. This is our moment together in time where it gets to be separated from everything else that's going on. And we get to enter into this exchange of energy with each other that really can be beautiful. And of course, like people have been doing this for millennia, right? Like I'm not the first person to come up with like, oh, I want to put God in sex. It's like that has been everywhere, like Shiva and Shakti, you know, and exactly. You like, yeah, exactly. It's everywhere. Yes, yeah, exactly. It's
which I'm
ancient.
fascinated by.
Yeah, I would more into that.
Oh,
not yet.
Okay,
because I need to read the.
Okay, well, I just finished a book. I think it's called Mary Magdalene Revealed or something. It talks about how ancient texts or one of the Gospels, not of Thomas, of something, another gospel, like kind of it called her Jesus's companion. And that he kissed her on the mouth a lot or something. And I love leaning into the idea or notion that they were like a divine partnership or union type of thing.
They're called the Gnostic Gospels. And they just very, very briefly, because it's super nerdy, but they were set outside of the canon, which is canon just means like official text, because of the other things that were in there. It wasn't the Mary and Jesus thing. It was Gnosticism was a general heresy that was like, the knowledge is secret and hidden and shouldn't be imparted to everybody. And at that time, the people who were in charge of the church were like, no, like we've had this secret crap going on for a really long time. We want this to be available to everybody. So we want to put the things in there that are like, hey, this is open to you, this is open to the world. And then of course it just gets bastardized into secret knowledge again. But it wasn't necessarily that the church was like, no one should ever read these. It's just like, this doesn't show the whole scope. And so those scopes that it does show, like, I don't remember hearing that like, oh, they burned all those texts. But even if they did, like, yeah, not great. But the church has done a lot of great things.
It's their story.
And they're really good. But so some of those texts are included in the scriptures that I read because I want to read through those. I want to be able to discern myself and be able to say like, okay, I want to pick this and put this in or keep this out and like say, but you should do that with every text you read.
Yeah, see what resonates with you and like take your own form.
Someone said, eat the meat, leave the bone. Take the things that stick with you and the things that don't get it stuck in your craw. Yeah. Girl, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Because it reminds me, I don't know if it was the canon thing that I read about or how they basically did a PR smear campaign from Mary Magdalene and called her a prostitute. And and how that wasn't true for And so I was like, oh, interesting.
It's never actually said in the text. Like if you look in the original Greek, that's never the word that's used for her. But in the King James version, when 1617 or something like that, when the KJV was instituted, there was a lot of changes that were made to make it more political to support King James's rule, right? And so some of those things were the demonization of women. And so like really the first English text was one where a massive, massive bastardization and translation issue was present. It's actually a very poor translation. Beautiful poetry, incredible. But the text in and of itself,
oh wow,
they did a fuck ton of mess ups on that one. I'll tell you that.
Okay, I'm gonna take a peek at some of my questions real quick. See if
So yeah, I'd love to hear more about how Jesus and Mary Magdalene got down. It'd be fun.
Me too.
I'm sure she enjoyed herself. Sounds like you
part
did.
of me is like, was she, impartially responsible for him being so powerful?
Oh, sure.
With those practices, with the support or like the sacred union, like.
There's another great book about that.
What is it?
The Road to Cana by the author who wrote the Vampire Diaries. I cannot remember her name, but yeah, bizarre.
Like the vampire, like not Anne Rice, right?
Yeah,
someone else.
It's Anne Rice.
It's Anne Rice.
That's right. Yeah, she wrote a book about Jesus.
Oh wow!
But it's
she
like
also wrote like erotica. Man, she had a diverse.
She really did. But that book is incredible. It was one of my books in one of my Christology classes, like literally classes talking about Jesus. And it is
the ones with Lestat and stuff. Those vampire ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, The Road to Cana is what it's called. It's
Cool.
basically a Jesus fanfic, but there's a lot there's a lot of really good stuff in it, and there's about the talk about Jesus's relationship to women. It's fascinating.
Mm. Okay, so one of these questions says, how do you create spaces where people feel safe to explore both their shadows and their sensuality?
Nice. That's a great question. So right now, Samantha and I are creating Tantra 101 classes,
Yeah, what do those
which
look
is
like?
like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's like, where can we get an opportunity to really dive into the very basics? And certainly it doesn't cover everything. But what it does is it allows people to ask those questions about,
Mm,
like, I've always felt shame with my religion or shame with my culture or shame with my parents around sex and sexuality, and they just get to say it. And
mm,
it's not bastardized, it's not made to be wrong or shamed. It's a space where shame is free to, like, melt away. And Samantha's so good at that. Like, she has a level of dedication to removing shame and clothing that is really astounding. Like, she just loves, her goal is like, I want everybody to be naked. Like, she is so good at that. So she made like brunch and boobies as well.
yeah.
Great space for women to be able to, have brunch with their tits out. As that's what she
Love it.
says. And then, but also to have that reverence and sacredness, and like, you get to choose to your own level of involvement in
Hmm.
what's liberating and expansive for you. And so we're working on creating these spaces together through the Tantra community. And then we host our own play parties where people really can melt away shame. And so many people have said that.
Yeah.
They've been like, it was really beautiful. Like, there've been lots of parties where like people just, they haven't even been having sex. They've just been connected and close to each other in an intimate and vulnerable space, and thought, wow, I never knew that this is what it could be like.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
open up that possibility. Oh,
yeah. I mean, because we're not taught that,
no.
right?
We're taught that
So
vulnerability is something to be feared, and certainly not to something to do
it's a
naked.
superpower.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I mean, it can be scary as all get out, right? To be vulnerable, but I think it's like the birthplace of connection and
yes,
intimacy.
deeply. And along the lines of like how to create a safe space is
Hmm.
also the way that the energy goes into it. So, I mean, and I talked about this with someone. So, in physics, right? There's potential energy and there's kinetic energy. There's probably other types, but don't catch me lying. So there's potential and kinetic energy. Potential energy is the energy that stores up as it's about to be used. Imagine a boulder perched on top of a hill. All it takes is the one
I was
little
thinking brink of
boink.
orgasm. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
yes, you're like 10 steps
Okay.
ahead of me. I
No,
love it. Yes,
no,
absolutely.
no.
Because that's right.
Is it?
You're
Oh,
exactly right.
cool. Okay. Oh, keep going.
That's what it's like.
I
Yeah,
didn't mean to,
welcome. Um,
didn't mean to
Not the
steal any
last time
thunder.
I've heard that. I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to do it occasionally just to be silly, but so
Please, silly is welcome.
yes, good. Thank
We're-
you. All of us is welcome.
yeah.
So imagine the boulder at top of the hill, getting ready. Imagine the orgasm, the brink of orgasm. You're like,
Yeah.
the creation of that potential energy, where you're making the environment something that's ready for kinetic energy, which is motion, things put into motion. So the potential energy is the environment you're creating. It is, and if it's filled with love and connection and compassion, those are all things that are storing up this ball of
Mm,
of potential energy. And then once people enter into that space and action starts happening, the ball starts rolling, and people start moving into, and they feel into their own energy, and it just becomes this alive space. But if you bring in the energy of like expectation, or you bring in the energy of what am I going to get out of this, only like, if you bring in this like selfish, and not selfish, if you bring in this egocentric energy, right, where like, oh, it has to be all about me and me looking good, that is what is going to act
mm,
out in the kinetic energy. It's going to become real because you created the potential for it. So really, how to create safe spaces is to curate the potential energy of an environment
mm,
into something that people can walk into and begin action, and that energy that was stored up just flows naturally. So in order to do that is really here.
mm,
It
mhm.
all starts here. What is the energy of my heart? I notice if I'm going into it and I'm not grounded, I have to stop. And I've done this before at Tantra 101 with Samantha too, where one of us has been just a little off, and we've looked at each other and been like, can we ground for a
Mm,
second? And she's like, oh yeah, thank you. Or I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. And then we just pause, we do our sound, breath, and movement, and we get back into it,
yeah.
because then our energy is righted and aligned.
It is. I mean, it's amazing what a breath will do.
Simple, right?
Right? There's a breathless sound.
Samantha
Yeah.
says somewhere she read it is equivalent to 10 minutes of meditation when you do a verbal exhale. Right. You got it.
See? I was a better meditator than I thought.
You did it for 10 minutes. That was amazing.
Yeah. Take that Insight app.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Fuck you.
Oh, okay. Here's one. I know we talked about what we would say to the younger self. Switching gears a little bit. If your younger, self could see you now, like, what do you think they'd say or think?
Oh my God, they judge the fuck out of me so fast. I'd said this to Samantha too. My younger version of me would not be attracted to the version of you.
Wow.
He couldn't, because he had this idea of what it needed to be. And he had no openness. He was very closed, especially my 16-year-old self. It was, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. John 14:6. That's it. And that was all that it was.
That's
so
yeah.
It became very, he would be very narrow-minded, and he would be kind of shocked and probably a little like, really? Like, this is the path that you chose? But obviously, like,
what an evolution.
Yeah, truly. And I mean, that was what, 20 years ago?
Wow.
Yeah.
That saying, that verse is the same one that my friend used whenever she was telling me that she was scared I was going to go to hell.
I know. And I would literally
and I'm
just
like,
talk to
how
someone
do you not know that I have a relationship with Jesus? It just
Right.
looks different
Exactly.
than yours.
That's the piece. I had this conversation this morning. I said, maybe when people look at that verse, they see that there's this, like, okay, Jesus is the way. But maybe what he's actually doing there is saying, do you see the way that I'm living my life? Like, if you want a heaven on earth, live like I'm living. Not the only way you're going to get there is through me. Jesus wasn't saying I'm the barrier, right?
Well, I mean, even if you take it like the only way you're going to get there through me is if you look at it as like love, well, then how would the heaven on earth be created? It would be through love.
Exactly. Yes, you're exactly right.
At least I think.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting, the interpretations or spins or the things that, we can fixate on. Or,
right.
Yeah.
And
okay.
that's just the English translation. That's not the original Greek.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can read.
That is fascinating.
So fun. Like a giant nerd.
Wow. No, I love that. I'm like, we all have our like little.
I want to start reading Sanskrit so I can read the Tantras.
Ooh,
that would be
cool.
fun. Anyway.
Oh, so neat. Okay. Oh, this says, okay. What sermon would you give today if you were back in front of a congregation?
That's so funny. I actually got to preach recently because I was a guest preacher.
Oh my God.
So if I were to preach today, what I would preach is I would preach on true oneness. Like the ability for all of us to be actually like unified, because that is what so much of the message of the church has been recently, is division, is these people are bad, these people are good, and only if you're in the good category, you're going to stay with us, right? Also, my denomination is unique in that we don't have as much of that because we have reconciling churches that are like open for everybody. And so if I were to stand up and I were to give a sermon, it would be how everything is connected, and you can't separate this divinity that exists within the character of Jesus from the divinity that shows up in our everyday actions towards each other. So kind of what I've been talking about, but depending on if there are kids or not in the audience, I'd also throw in some sex stuff. It'd be fun. Be like the way that plays into it.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
That's an untapped resource that we are not working with in the church that could really be powerful. Anyway. And the way that we are, not we, but the way that a lot of the people in the church are using sex is just so twisted and fucking broken. I mean, there's lots of Catholic jokes for that reason.
Yeah,
it's
I was just thinking of that. Like, okay, well, what if it was kind of brought more to light? What else wouldn't be done in the shadows?
Exactly. Because our shadows are going to show up one way or another. So, and I can't tell you how many articles I've read about youth pastors in Baptist churches who have hurt and harmed children, who, if you really want to get into the Bible and what it says, what Jesus says about people like that is, it'd be better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and thrown to the bottom of the sea.
Oh,
that is Jesus.
Wow, that's really...
Yes. Yeah. I know, right? Cool. He's rad.
Well, I love that, there's pieces like that, and then I don't remember. I'm like, don't quiz me. Vacation Bible School was a long time ago.
I did,
but although
Bible
I do
quizzing.
read some, like now, I am like combing through to see what resonates with me. It's like a
Yeah.
little daily reading that I have, and like it's a little thing. But I
Awesome.
love that because it shows the humanness
Right.
too.
There is so much
Yeah.
variance, as you know, right? There's
Yeah.
so much nuance to this world. And for anybody to go in and declare, like, I have the answer, it's like, there's no way, bud. There's no way
Yeah.
you got it. And it's always a man.
It's
It's
always
always a man who say, I have the answer. Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, bud.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to search for the meaning or the answer, but to declare that you have it, the
Yeah, for everybody else.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, I'm really glad that you found your answer. That is beautiful for
yeah,
you. And I don't ever want to stop that. But the moment you start telling me that has to be my answer too, that's fucked up. It's
yeah,
not the way
it's
that
not
we want to live.
universal. Yeah,
Right.
interesting. So interesting. Okay, fill in the blank. My gospel now is
The first word that comes to mind is sex, but I need
yeah.
to be more clear, right? Um, yeah. The gospel now is that you can find God in everything. And that
Uh,
includes sex, and it should include sex.
yes. I was thinking the other day how I was like, well, if you even just think about like the omniscient, omnipresent type of
Hmm.
thing, then if God is everywhere, that includes the
That's
bedroom.
right.
It's not just like everything but that little corner.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like God stands outside just looking in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Creeper. No, it's like we're right
Okay.
there.
I'm like, we have a little bit more time.
I love it.
I have like this lightning round thing, but I don't
Ooh,
know how many. Yeah. Oh, it says preacher voice or bedroom voice. Which one gets more amens
yes.
now?
Yes. The answer, they are one and the same at this point.
Amen.
I mean, when you break it down, when it gets down really low, you really
Ooh.
have to drive in a point.
Ooh.
Yeah, anyway. That's so that
Yeah, we
it
can
gets
do some
yeah, should I
ASMR
start clapping my
stuff
nails
right now.
against
Let's
the
whisper and
like come here,
do you need a
come
little drink?
all right,
Should I drink a
everybody.
little?
Yeah, come here and get on your knees for me. It's the same voice, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. Right? Lay down at my altar. I will
Oh,
show
it
you how to be
reminds me of
worshipped.
this radio station I listened to growing
Do
up.
you?
Yeah, it's like the quiet storm.
Oh, nice. I
It was
love
like
it.
on at night, you know?
Most worship songs are inherently sexual. Someone's like, Jesus is coming down the road. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Mm-mm-mm. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know if any of these really like resonate with what I'm feeling now. Let's see. Like, is there anything that's feeling alive for
Yeah,
you
well,
that
I'm
you want to talk
curious for
about?
you. I'm curious about
Yeah.
like the ways that, especially growing up in Texas, like what are the
Hmm.
ways in which like religion and sexuality influenced you?
Um, I was rebellious.
Nice.
So, I would say there was that piece. It just I remember going to like my grew up in a super small town. There's like
Hmm.
church on every corner.
Hmm.
There's the church that the cool kids went. There's, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And then there was this other one. I just remember it didn't sit with me. Like
Yeah.
the piece about oh, if you like the brimstone piece, like, oh, if you get in a car wreck on
Hmm.
the way home tonight, are you gonna be on the right
Hmm.
side of heaven or Jesus?
Right.
You know? And that just never I was like, that doesn't sit.
Yeah.
I love that I have that perspective that I grew up with
Hmm.
so that I can it's like points of resonance and I understand it and I know it.
Yeah.
And it created a lot of like taboo enticement too, because I'm
Nice.
super drawn to the taboo. I always have been like, or if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna kick back against that and like have a little rebellious energy.
Hmm.
But then
Yeah.
so I had that, and then I also had my stepdad tell me at one point he pulled up a map of religion on the computer and he was like,
Nice.
you only because I asked why we weren't going to church anymore, and he said you likely only believe what you grew up around, and it was all color coded. And that was just a very like paradigm shift moment because I was like, oh, okay, if that's true for religion, then what else is that true for
Nice.
everything? So it spurred this like want to go do it, see an experience type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was a piece of it too that was like, okay, maybe I just keep it to myself. So even if I
Oh
was
yeah.
having a lot of that rebellious like energy or experimentation or that sort of thing is like nobody can know about this.
Do not tell my
Which
parents.
yeah, which even whenever I named my book,
Hmm.
it was not called Sex, Drugs, and Soul
That's right.
initially. Yeah, it was called The Scenic Route Home.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, tell us about it. And I was like, well, it's sex, drugs, and soul. Or it's like sex, drugs, and then the tapping into the soul part. And they're like, that's your title.
Right.
That's what's going to make people
It's
curious.
evocative.
Yeah. leading up to publishing, though, it felt like my skin was crawling of
Oh, I
like the
imagine.
release of any remaining shame, or like, okay,
Mm,
this is what I'm stepping into.
yeah,
This is what I'm claiming.
yeah,
I'm gonna be a sex chick.
yeah. That's you. Yes.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm
so
like,
what?
wow. It's very contrasting to the good girl image that
Right.
I've represented or presented for so long.
Yeah, I hear that. And
Um,
I get that
yeah.
too, in the sense of a lot of that same stuff has happened for me, in that, my dad passed away in 2017,
Mm,
but and if he was still alive, oh my God, I would hear about it every day. But I don't. So
yeah.
but like my mom and my brother and my sister,
Mhm.
they are still around. And my brother was a wild child in high school. He was the rebellious one,
Mm.
going nuts. Wait, things that I was like, I didn't even know you could do that at 14 years old.
Yeah.
Like, and I was the goody two shoes boy. But now we've kind of switched. I'm doing a little bit more wild things, but consciously.
Mhm.
And, he's going to church now, and he's got a wife and with a baby on the way. And like, he's settled
Wow.
down. Right. But like when I don't tell my mom and my sister about this stuff. I can't. And, they know I have podcasts out there. They know kind of what I'm doing, but we just don't really talk about it. And like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of under the rug.
My mom asked me, she was like, what are you doing? And I said, like, I had a client. She's like, what kind of client? I
You're
said,
like,
like a Tantra client. She's like, what is Tantra? I was like,
well,
do you really want to go here?
how much time do you got, mom? And yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Ask what you really want to know. And
Yeah.
then,
Because this is going to be a fun answer for you, mom.
yeah. Which, I mean, she loves me regardless. I will say, like,
Yeah.
I've been the wild
Yeah.
hippie one, or the unicorn of the
Yes.
family for a while, that it's just kind of like, of course. But
Yeah.
there's still, she just has a different outlook, perspective, and
Hmm.
that sort of thing.
That's fair.
But yeah, it definitely like created, like, I guess, like the duplicity living for a while.
Right.
So this
Yeah.
feels just like me being who I
Yeah.
am.
You getting to be
Yeah.
authentic and being who you are. And
Yeah.
that's really huge. I think if there's anything that comes out of this, it's like, what I recognize is that, yeah, I've grown up in a really unique way, and I've been able to apply my gifts in a really unique way. But if I wasn't, I wouldn't be living my authentic life. Like, I'd
Yeah.
have to like not hold on to, like grasp onto, but I'd really appreciate the way that the things I've learned have informed how I live today. And if I were to just
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh yeah, that doesn't matter, I wouldn't be living authentically.
Yeah.
Even if some people might look at me and be like, dude, you talk about Jesus a lot for someone who also fucks. Like, I'm like, well, yeah, you're right. And that's
Jesus
okay.
spoke too.
Yeah, Jesus fuck
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Don't tell
Aren't
me
there
he
a lot
didn't.
of lost years?
So there's so with this like divinity piece, right? It's my question for you is like, there's so much talk about like the divine masculine and the divine feminine and like all these energies in the world of tantra, right? Like, that's fair
Hmm.
to say. So like, my question for you is, have you seen really what those begin to look like? And have you seen more divine feminine? Have you seen more divine masculine? And I'm not saying like in women or in men, just like in general, which of those energies, or maybe both of them,
I
show
feel
up
like
more
there's definitely
prevalently?
a shift or a rebalancing happening right now.
Hmm.
Um, like and that's what I feel like it is, like the rebalancing versus, because like being in the patriarchal
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
realm for so long, I think it's, not hating on that, but
Hmm.
it just rebalancing things, coming back to that kind of space. And so I see that, but
Yeah,
I'm also looking for it. So I
that's
don't
true.
know how much of it is my brain finding the evidence to support like my beliefs or ideology, or like what is transpiring. Because I feel like
Right.
sometimes I'm like, okay, all my feed is like tantra,
Yep.
all this stuff.
Yep.
So I have to step back sometimes and realize, like, this isn't like the mainstream thing
Yeah.
yet.
This is not this is not the
So
world at
yeah,
large,
yeah.
right?
So it's like, okay, I'm like, is it, or is it just like what I'm seeing or seeing shift? But I will say, with my work with men,
Hmm.
it's been super, super paradigm shifting
That's
as far as like
awesome.
what they're coming to work on, or what
Hmm.
they want to experience,
Hmm.
how they're moving forward in the world
Mm.
afterwards. I mean, that's going to have ripples and ripples
Yeah,
and ripples. So,
for sure.
yeah, in some ways,
I love that. I love
yeah.
to hear that, because I think there
And I
is
love men. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I am getting there. I think I have this part of me that still is very much like
Yeah.
angry at men,
Mm-hmm.
because of dad stuff, right?
Yeah.
But also just because even the ones that I encounter many times, I'm like, this is not. it. Like, this is not the energy that
It's
I'm wanting to be around.
yeah, it's providing the contrast for like
Exactly.
this is like the outer boundary or like
Yeah.
you know when you go bowling and you
Yeah,
have
the
the
lane,
bumper.
the
Yeah,
alley,
yeah.
yeah,
You're like, okay,
the
here's the
gutter.
outlet.
You're right
Yeah.
in the gutter, y'all. And
Yeah.
when I talked about the soccer field before, that's what I kind of mean is like there's a lot of room to run around,
Mm-hmm.
but there are some clear out of bounds too.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to go there, you know?
Yeah, like the one you mentioned with the millstone.
Yes,
That
exactly.
was
Oh yeah, that's way out of bounds. Holy
yeah,
shit.
I know. Okay, so we're out of time. Do you
Okay.
drop anything you want to drop?
Right.
Points of connection or offer anything?
Yeah, so
Just
y'all can find me on Instagram at
yeah.
Anthony._Michael. That's a great way to find me. Um, I also find Samantha. She's really
Mm-hmm.
doing incredible tantra work. Samantha, oh, I know hers is Houston Tantra Girl, and
Mm-hmm.
it's great.
Now,
So those
yeah,
are great places for us to be contacted and connected with, especially if you're looking for a community in Houston,
for sure.
because there's
Houston,
just so
reach
many
out.
communities in
Yeah.
Austin, and it's awesome. And there's great places here, but there haven't been a lot in
There
Houston.
hasn't been a lot in Houston, and I love to see it grow and develop there because
Yeah.
Houston's always kind of been like a
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
for me.
There's been some
But
places
it
where
speaks back to like way, way, way earlier trauma
it's a big
and
city.
murder. Yeah.
It's a huge
Yeah.
city. So there's a lot more expansion now where we're
Mhm.
getting to the place where it's very welcome. So,
See, that's a shift.
yay.
I think that's a shift.
It is.
That's the evidence.
Woohoo!
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Love you. Bye.